Trojan family, what's up, man? USCJ here. Listen, we got a little bit of an update as it relates to Jim Leonard, and listen, also with Jimmy Lake. Some information I want to share with you as it relates to Jimmy Lake. These are the two guys that, of course, Dave and Randa as well. I got information on all three of those guys. Real quick, want to touch on, and listen, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I won't be coming on tomorrow, but I guess all of us will be getting lost in the sauce. I'm gonna be getting lost in the cranberry sauce. But real briefly, I was on the show with LBC Trojan. Those some are familiar with the Trojan community. He has a YouTube station channel. Make sure you guys go hit that subscribe button. LBC Trojan. We had a phenomenal show with Jaywalk, Jamie Davenport, and LBC Trojan earlier today. And make sure you guys go watch that. Go subscribe to that channel. Now, as it relates to Jim Leonard, I've seen some information someone sent me today that negotiations appear to still be going on, and part of the negotiations, possibly, this is a report, this is something that somebody sent me, stating that part of the negotiations are, to him to select his defensive staff. Now, the question I have for you guys is this. What defensive staff, well, let me ask you this. Is there anybody from our defensive staff do you guys see that could possibly stay? And I want to talk about that real quick. And it's two guys. If I do think that anybody could stay, it's two guys. One is Roy Manning and one is Shan. However, in the event that he decides to go with his own staff, look, it's fine whichever way he decides to go, because at the end of the day, he had a successful defense that led in all types of categories, and so it's really whatever he decides to do. But I do think, when I'm connecting dots together, I do think that it is a great possibility for these two guys to possibly be retained, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. First is the first reason why it's going to be Shan. Shan has already coached at the University of Michigan. Actually coached against Jim Leonard when he played at Wisconsin, when he coached at Wisconsin rather. And of course, you guys know Shan have already had big time draft picks, number one draft picks as it relates to the defensive line, Aiden Hutchinson and at Michigan. So I think that when you're talking about somebody like him, I think you can absolutely retain somebody. And then you got the guys, the recruits that look up to him. I know specifically of some. I'm not even going to mention their names, but they've already told me that they really love Shan. But I think, it's possible that a guy like Shan, in the event, I'm just speaking in the event that Jim Leonard agrees to all of USC's contract and the negotiations go through with success. Also, when you look at Roy Manning, who played at the University of Michigan, had great success this year with the rush ins. Has everything been perfect? No, but part of that goes to you can attribute that through the scheme. The scheme absolutely was lost in the sauce. Now, Jamil Muhammad, Solomon Byrd, these guys on the rush in, I mean, they had quite a bit of production on that rush in position. And I think when you look at the work that a guy like Roy Manning has done, I think you absolutely can consider retaining somebody like him. And coincidentally, you guys know Jim Leonard. Leonard. He played for the Buffalo Bills, and Roy Manning played for the Buffalo Bills. Jim Leonard got there, I believe, it was in 2005. Roy Manning played there in 2006. These guys are familiar with each other, and as far as a relationship, I'm not sure. They may have a relationship, but I know that they're familiar with each other, being that Jim Leonard played at Wisconsin, Roy Manning played at Michigan. So if any two guys stay, I would absolutely say it would be Roy Manning and Shan. Now, get into Jimmy Lake. Jimmy Lake is another name that's coming up in reference to our defensive coordinator position, and I absolutely think he's very qualified candidate, somebody who knows how to move and groove. However, the events that took place surrounding his exit at the University of Washington was kind of suspect. The fact that Jennifer Cohen, she knows him, and I think I believe she's the one that fired him. So that situation, I'm not sure how that went. I'm not sure their relationship. They could be on good terms. But I'm just throwing that out there. And it was a guy I seen on Twitter, a guy that I follow. We follow each other. I was actually on a show with him before. Tony Altamore. You guys know him. He does a lot of great things in the USC community. He's a USC alum, puts up a lot of statistical, historical numbers up there as it relates to USC history. He made a very, very great point today. And here it is with the tweet. Tony Altamore, he said, lots of weird media talking heads yapping about Jimmy Lake to USC. He said, did y'all see how that ended at Washington? And I totally agree with him. It didn't end the best, but whether they're on good terms right now, that's a whole nother story. He says, I feel like that NASA will rehire Edwin Snowden before at Jennifer Cohen rehires Jimmy Lake. So I tend to agree with that. That's the only thing that I'm kind of skeptical about. You guys can hit me in the comments and let me know what you think. Now, as to Dave and Randa, there's been some information surfacing about Dave and Randa, and I was skeptical to even do a video about Dave and Randa as potential candidates, although I think he's very qualified. Believe from Bakersfield, California, Southern California area. Very familiar with that area. Young, had great success at LSU, and coincidentally, before Jim Leonard became the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, Dave Randa was actually the defensive coordinator there before he went to LSU. So it's all kind of dots connecting, when you look at these guys. But however, I did listen to a Baylor podcast today, and this is two guys actually that cover Baylor, put out information on Baylor, and one stated that he doesn't see David Randa getting fired. He sees him coming back in the 2024 season. That has been my only worry about a guy that's already a sitting head coach at a university. It's hard for me to pinpoint him or direct him to be the defensive coordinator when you have a head coaching job. I think David Randa actually signed a deal to like 2029. Of course, it can be bought out. I want to say this is not accurate, but I want to say maybe 29, 30 million, something like that. So, whether he leaves or not, I'm not sure. And that's the whole issue with him. So that's what I have for you today, man. You guys can hit me in the comments. Also, I want to address something about Lincoln Riley real. Also, there was something that said that Lincoln Riley will not will be going to the NFL. This was his statement here, coming from the Athletic. He says, I'm coaching at. When Coach Lincoln Riley was asked about him staying at USC, he says, I'm staying at USC, period. And so I think that shuts down all the information that was put out there. As you guys know, many said that he was putting out fillers to leave USC and to possibly go to the NFL. So look, he put that to bed, he put it to rest, and now I think it's straight up go time. It's on and popping, and this is why I think that he will hire the best possible candidate. It's in his best interest to hire the best possible qualified candidate to secure not only his job, but his legacy, his career. And so he can move to that next level to be the best possible coach that he can be. Lincoln Riley has that potential. So look, man, until later on, everybody stay blessed. Happy Thanksgiving once again to everybody. Until later on, fight on, fight on, fight on.